Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Penny Bloom podcast. Today, we continue our comic book movie journey through film with The Wolverine. It was released on July 26th, 2013, written by Mark Bomback and Scott Frank, directed by James Mangold. I'm Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. We got a first viewing on the docket for you today, huh?
I didn't even realize it was a first viewing. I thought that I kind of had a crash course of all of the X-Men movies whenever I just kind of watched them all. But I think I just specifically watched the X-Men movies. I don't know. And then maybe I left out Wolverine and Logan and thought that I would finish up like a little Logan special afterwards. But I guess I never got around to it. Because, I was watching this and I'm like, wait a minute.
I don't remember a single fucking thing in this.
Yeah. I'm like, I think I've seen like clips of this, but then it had to have just been on just random clips on Twitter or
Yeah.
I think I guess part of the beginning of the movie is in other movies, right? Is the part in Japan in another movie, or is it only here? Like, is there a flashback to it maybe somewhere else where
There might be. I can't recall off the top of my head. The thing is that with the continuity, this stuck to continuity much more than I thought it did or would.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he is grappling with the events of X-Men: The Last Stand kind of blew me away. I was like, "Oh, yeah,
Yeah, it was
we're immediately after that."
very
And I know
much
Days of
so.
Future Past is the next movie, which kind of undoes all of that. So it was a nice way to
Hmm.
deal with this character one more time, having experienced this. And what's funny is
Yeah.
he's the only one who remembers that even after Days of Future Past. He remembers everything because he's the one who gets sent back in time,
Okay.
and
Wow.
he remembers all of everything, every history that he's lived. He
He really
remembers.
is the centerpiece of
Oh yeah.
this sect of Marvel.
And
It's
frankly,
crazy.
I appreciate that, man. I love Hugh Jackman, and I love him as
Hmm.
Wolverine, and I always did. Um, and a lot of people are, you know, uh, I saw a tweet yesterday that was like, "What if I said Hugh Jackman was a fucking hack for coming back after this?" And it's the shot of Logan's grave in Logan. Uh,
Hmm.
he's like, "What if I said he was a fucking hack after coming back after this?" And I'd say, acting's a job, and he probably got the biggest payday of his fucking life
Yeah,
to do Deadpool 3.
yeah.
Um,
He's already built that character to legendary status, and then now any cameo he does, if it's 10 seconds, I guarantee he's getting a couple million for it. Like, and it, no matter what
yeah,
movie he goes in. And yeah, I saw someone say like it's funny to me that Hugh Jackman was a 100% like a theater kid, and now has
yeah.
to just absolutely bulk the fuck up every time he plays Wolverine.
Every
Um,
this fucking theater kid every 4 years
yeah,
has to take fucking bovine growth hormones.
yeah,
Uh,
and I mean
because dude, he's still fucking huge.
yeah,
Like, and that was like the thing he said whenever he was done playing Logan after Logan, is he was like, my body can't take it anymore. I'm
dang,
50.
yeah, that's got
Like
to be
I'm 50.
hard.
I can't keep doing this. It's why Batista wants to stop playing Drax. It's why
Oh,
like a lot of dudes are aging out of being able to
yeah.
keep up with that physique. And so Hugh Jackman's like,
Mm.
he was like, I don't have any, but then there's a whole bunch of other stuff too. He just went through like a divorce like a year and a half ago, and then uh
Mm-hmm.
booked a job on Deadpool 3, and I have a tough time
Yep.
believing the two aren't connected.
He's like,
Um
oh man, now I
Not to
do have a lot
speculate on
of
his
extra
personal
time.
life.
Oh man,
Yeah,
I need some motivation to go somewhere.
yeah,
And a 50 million check looks pretty good. I
yeah.
don't know how much he's gonna
Having
get, but I'm
a
assuming it's pretty large, pretty substantial.
it's gotta be beefy, man. He's gotta be getting fucking paid for that. But regardless,
Hmm.
10 years ago, 11 years ago, when
Wow.
this movie came out,
Yeah.
um, I think I actually saw this in theaters, if I recall correctly. It was the I don't know if you remember the eighth grade field trip where you had like, and I don't know if they
No
did this in other ones.
way.
They had the option where you could go to the movies or you could go to
The bowling,
the
the
bowling
Lunar
alley.
Bowl next to it.
Yeah, yeah,
Is that middle? That was middle school.
yeah,
I
yeah.
went to the
That was eighth
bowling
grade.
alley. So I could have seen this movie
I think you could have
Maybe.
seen this in theaters. Well, that's the thing is that I didn't see it that day, but I remember
Oh,
this being
okay.
the movie they were showing.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, I got
I
you.
think
Yeah, I went to the
that would have
bowling
been
alley
2013, right?
on that
I did
trip.
too.
Um,
Just a lot more people were going. It's a time to hang out and
that
talk. You can't
seems
do that.
about right. 2013.
Yeah.
That seems about right. Wow, that's kind of nuts. In a different life, I decided to go see the Wolverine, and maybe I would have been a huge X-Men fan from then on out, early on, because that would have been probably my first X-Men movie ever.
I'm
Um,
sorry. I'm misremembering that. I'm misremembering that. It was Days of Future Past,
Yo,
2014.
so it's
Um,
still in the X-Men
because
world though.
eighth
That's
grade
crazy.
was 2013 to 14, and freshman year
Oh,
was
okay,
14 to 15. Um,
okay,
so it would have been end of the year 2014.
true.
So this would not have been in theaters. I did see this at a drive-in, which is not the way to see a movie for the first time. I don't think it's fine,
Yeah.
but just not optimal. Um,
Takes a while to get into the movie. You know, you got to get past a
yeah,
lot of things to get really into. It's got to be a really good movie too, to
yeah.
really get by. Like just the audio alone at
And
a
your
drive-in
company
is,
depends on your company as
yeah.
well. Um,
You never know what you're gonna find at a drive-in. Um,
yeah.
but wow,
No, for
okay,
sure.
interesting.
But yeah, I saw this at a drive-in. Now I'm remembering everything correctly now. I saw this at a drive-in, and I remember being like, I love the movie. It was a super fun time. You know, I think that
Mm-hmm.
it's extremely heartfelt, and that's something that I always think that James Mangold and Hugh Jackman do really well with the character of Wolverine, because James Mangold also goes on to direct Logan. Um,
Hmm.
they have a sense for this character that really uh, gets to the heart of him. I think they get his struggle, like the fact that one of the most key struggles Wolverine faces is his mortality. How
Yeah.
he doesn't have a mortality, basically. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like he's just kind of like, oh, I might die one day. I don't fucking know. Like I'm gonna just keep kicking it. I've been this age for I don't know how long. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so like the fact that this movie deals so straightforward with that struggle
Oh yeah.
is something I appreciate deeply. It's one
Yeah.
of my favorite things they do with Logan stories, and I've talked about this before. Wolverine is my favorite Marvel Comics character. Um, so whenever a story can deal with those issues effectively, it really resonates with me.
Yeah.
And
And every character surrounding him is basically dealing with it too. The villain
mhm.
of the movie trying to take his mortality from him and take it for himself. Um, let's see. What is what's her name? Yeah, Yukio. Yukio, like
Yeah,
literally being her power is to see someone's death,
yeah,
and she tells
tortured by
Logan,
visions of death.
"I have seen you die." You know, and then even Logan at that point goes like, "No." He's like, no, like he's kind of been searching for a death the whole movie, but
Mhm.
then when he's
Yeah.
told, "Hey, I saw you die, dude," he's like, "I can't die. There's no
He's been kinda
way."
given
And
something to
he's like,
live for again,
"Yeah,"
you
and
know,
then
like,
maybe he's kind of like, "Well, maybe it needs to happen. I don't know." You know, like sort of like it was
well, and that's
an
what's funny
interesting
is
part, but
he does
technically,
technically die,
yeah,
and that's
does
funny. I bet they gave Yukio some hope, you know, being like,
yeah,
"Oh,
because
so I can see when people are, like, revived too," you know, basically,
that's fair. It's not 100% guarantee. I
yeah,
guess Logan
gives you
probably
a
has a
little
little bit better of a chance than
oh,
anyone
it's
else. Uh,
someone's going to die, it's just,
mhm.
like, it's very unlikely they come back to life, but they could, you know, it's
It
not
is a
impossible,
possibility. Did
um,
he die? Has he like died or been pronounced? You know, like whenever the adamantium was injected into him, did he like
he
die
flatlined,
there? Yeah. So
he
he
flatlined,
flatlined and then came
yeah.
back. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
and I mean, like, there's a couple times where, like, he's not medically like, he's not hooked up to machines where they can like, you can tell he's flatlined, but
mm,
there's a moment in, like I can't remember if it's I think it's X-Men, the first X-Men, whenever Bobby, goes home and he has the little coming out scene with his parents where he
mm-hmm.
confesses he's a mutant and he's like, "This is why I'm going to that school," and then they come outside and the cops are surrounding and the guy's got the gun pointed at Logan and he
Mm,
shoots him in the head.
yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
that drops his ass,
Yeah. So
which
does
makes me
he
think
die there and then he just wakes back? It's not just like a knockout. It's just like a he actually
oh,
just
and that's the
died and then
it
just
must be a knockout because he's got the adamantium,
Oh,
and
so I
a
guess the
normal
bullet
bullet
couldn't have gone
can't.
through his skull.
It's just
Okay.
hitting him
So
fucking
he really
hard.
just got rung on the bell. It really
Yeah.
just literally rung his
Mm,
bell hard.
yeah. But
Damn,
how are you feeling fresh off
man.
of this movie?
I
You
was
know?
I don't know. It surprised me a whole lot. I guess I not seeing the movie. Everything was very fresh, very new. The only thing I vividly remember seeing was the clip at the very beginning in Japan when he does save
Yeah,
the one
Nagasaki.
soldier. But yeah, other than that, everything was completely
That's a
new.
harrowing scene too, man. Like
Man, dude, holy
and
shit! Way to open
I
the movie too. Like
yeah.
like, can you imagine going into a theater for a Wolverine movie, and then you
Mhm.
just boom, like this is the first thing you see, which is I guess with a movie dealing with mortality and all these crazy things, maybe that is
Like
I
the
don't.
most powerful weapon of death we've ever
Mm-hmm.
created. I don't like it's
Showing that he even survived that, like
yeah, yeah.
the worst thing that we have ever done. Logan, it's still nothing to him, and he knows he's going to survive
Well,
it
and
basically. And
the emphasis again that you kind of forget that he feels everything.
yeah, yeah,
It's not like he's immune to pain. Bro got scorched by nuclear radiation and felt what that feels like and
mm-hmm.
lived through it.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah, every time he pulls out the claws, it hurts.
every time.
Every time. I'd imagine a nuke wouldn't feel I feel like it's a little worse than some claws coming out of your hand.
Yeah, gotta
Um,
I mean his whole body was
oh my god. Just
destroyed.
that scream
Um
too. He's just like
yeah.
screaming, holding like that steel plate or whatever down
Yeah.
like over him, and like that
No,
little
and I go
hole.
back and forth on how tasteful this
Mm,
is.
mm-hmm.
Um like it's one thing to build this relationship between the two based on this shared trauma which he saved that man's life.
Mm-hmm.
um and like that's understandable, you know. That's but using it in the context of furthering a not Japanese person's story, it felt a little weird, you know. It
Yeah.
did.
At least it's not like heralded as like a victory for the United
No,
States
yeah,
right
like it's
afterwards, and it's not like cheers and everything. At least we
yeah,
get the guy coming back up out of the he looks
yeah.
at Japan
That was
or
devastating.
gone, and yes,
Devastating, and especially
so
just I mean after Oppenheimer last year, kind of having a morbid fascination with that event afterwards, and
mm-hmm,
I've started watching a lot more Japanese movies in the wake of that event and sort of how it shaped culture and their film and everything, and it's everything that you put on screen that deals with that is going to make me cry now, and that did. Like
mm,
he
yeah,
came up and I immediately was just like it broke.
like holy shit, it's not
There's a
just the
level.
movie, it's like it is the real life
It's
aspect.
a thing
It's
that happened,
completely
and
the
it's
real life aspect.
devastating.
Yeah,
It's one of the saddest things that's ever happened in the history of the world. You know, like and the harrowing nature of
Ugh,
whenever he goes, that's a B-29, bub. There's only one thing that means. Like, and
yeah.
that means, it's
This is
Nagasaki. I don't
this
think
is
they
the
make it
second
clear
one. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
they don't
this
make it clear
is.
that it's
Mhm.
Nagasaki, I don't think, at the beginning, but they're like, like
Wolverine, like Logan knows. He's like, I know what happened before. That's a B-29. I
there's
know
only
what's
one
about to
thing that
come.
means
We
what.
have to run. Like we have to go.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's. I
Well, he
mean,
doesn't even say you have to go. He said, you'll be
or
better off down here.
that's true.
You
Yeah,
know?
he's
He's
just.
like,
Um, he like it's crazy that like he knows that he still isn't gonna die. Like, do you think he's up at the surface? He's not down there saving this guy. He's just up on the surface. What if the nuke goes directly? He's in the center. So he's basically in the middle of a star, vaporized. Does he
Well, there's
just?
something interesting that, at least Deadpool points to us
Mm-hmm.
later on. When he blows himself up in Deadpool 2,
Yeah.
his entire body grows from wherever his head is. It just grows back. Like that's just how it goes.
Dang.
So like
Okay.
I
So just one
it
little part of his brain
And then
just has, you know.
he's got an adamantium skull, which Deadpool does not have. So who knows what the fuck it takes to blow his body to bits,
Okay, that's true. It's got to be something
and a
that
nuke
that can
probably
get through
might
there.
do it.
I'd say that would be the one thing on Earth that could, other than adamantium or vibranium, well,
Yeah,
whatever
I don't
itself.
know. Like,
But yeah, yeah, it is interesting having it in here because like even in Oppenheimer, a movie that is specifically about this event, they do not show it. They do not show
yeah,
Japan
about the
whatsoever.
man
Um,
who helped make this event.
mhm.
Yeah.
So it is, you know, in a superhero movie. You were saying you're 13 years old seeing this at a drive-in. You know, you're a 13-year-old kid having to witness one of
Well, and that's the thing is that when I was that young, the weight of that doesn't sink in.
It's just a big
Like
bomb going off. It's just
I
like,
remember I
yeah,
learned about that in class, and I remember being like,
like, whoa. But
"Holy shit!"
yeah,
Like
mm-hmm,
because I remember being taught about like lingering radiation and
mm-hmm,
how if you didn't die then, you probably died soon.
yeah.
Like it
Your fate was
probably was
already
wrong.
sealed. Yeah, if you're within
And
this distance.
I remember
Yeah.
learning. I think I was in fourth grade when I learned that.
Wow.
And I
Okay.
remember being just kind of
That's
what
scary.
the
New
fuck?
fear unlocked. Yeah.
But
Like,
then you just kind of you're young, so you go that no, I don't need to
but
fucking
obviously
like
that's not going to happen. Like
no, yeah, and
obviously this will
all
not
the
happen.
pictures are in black and white. They say a year that's like the 40s, and I'm like, that's fucking forever ago, bro. That's a human ago. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that is a lifetime ago. Um,
Yeah, there are people
and
that
so
might
just
still be alive. There are people that are still alive that have
hmm.
seen or were alive when that happened, which is that's weird.
No, and it's different, of course. Like it's a very different thing. I don't want to equate the tragedies in any way. They're both tragedies in their own right, and I don't want to weigh anything. But like imagine um in 2050 there's like a Japanese made film where someone saves someone from the Twin Towers
Ah,
on 9/11,
yeah,
like
yeah,
how does that
yeah,
get received, like how does that feel,
yeah.
and
That see, and immediately that felt like, yeah,
it's
like
like ugh,
icky.
it's like
And
it's not
so if that feels icky, they're doing the same thing
this feels
here.
even
Yeah,
like
it's
I
like
would argue feels even ickier, like
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
it's
Oof. Yeah, it is. It
yeah
is
so
very, very interesting. And
it's
at least
it's
it's
a tough thing to grapple with. And I think within the movie itself, it's the fact that they did it at all that's kind of like, the way they do handle it once they've committed to doing it is
mm-hmm.
actually not as bad as I thought.
Yeah.
They handle it with the gravity it's supposed to have, the weight it's supposed to have. It's not it's it's clearly not something light.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
it's
I mean, we
it's
see
hard hitting.
you
It's
see three
heavy.
soldiers take their own take their
Yeah.
own lives, looking like knowing what's coming. You're already like, oh shit. Like I mean, it is everything that they do in that moment. I think is handled pretty well. It is what just like you said. It's like just if they should have done it in the first place or
Yeah.
not. Um,
Yeah.
at least what
But
we
and,
got
and
was somewhat. Um, I don't know. It did. I mean, it did get me to tear up a little bit,
no,
and
it did me
whether
too. It did
whether
me
that's
too.
the scene doing it or just the nature of what I'm
It's
watching
a
in itself. But
combination of things, like it's just like it is the fact that it was a real life event that gets you there. If it's not a real life event, this doesn't get me there. Guaranteed. Like
that's
it's
true.
just
Yeah.
it's just but I think the way that they handle it, it could have been handled in a really blunt way that was not weighty, that did not hit, that was not heavy. It was heavy. It carried the weight that I feel it was supposed to, and therein it did something right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it could have been just it could have served no purpose.
Yeah.
You
And
know, like
yeah,
it
that's true. At
at
least it
least it
is the
did that.
main, like it is the
Yeah.
villain that was in there that will eventually we'll see later on. Logan even
Mm.
comes back to that same spot, and
Yeah.
we see like
God.
the country like looking beautiful at that at that
Yeah.
point. So it's like, it's at least
She says
it
something
is.
about how it's was it Yukio or was it
I
Mariko?
think
Was
it
it
was
Mariko
Yukio.
who
Was
okay.
I think it was
No, it was
Yukio.
Mariko because she's
It
talking
was.
about her grandpa.
That's
She's
right.
talking about
Yeah,
her grandpa.
they're just on the
Um,
run. Yeah, they're on the
yeah.
run. They took like
Yeah,
trains
and she's
everywhere,
talking
and
about
yeah.
how
Mm-hmm.
this spot always reminded her grandpa about how is ever nothing's ever gone.
Yeah.
You know, like
Mm-hmm.
you can rise up again, you can survive, you can make it through, and like that's an incredibly moving sentiment as well. You know, like I appreciated that a great deal, and I love the actress who played Mariko. You actually would know her, yeah, Tao Akamoto. Um, she was in Westworld. She was the snake tattoo for the
Oh
Shogun
my
world.
God! Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and she will
Yeah.
be in Batman versus Superman later on as Lex Luthor's uh, lackey, Mercy Graves.
Okay.
Um,
Wow. She found some cool roles.
yes,
From
I enjoy that actress a great deal, and specifically Westworld. I fucking love her in
yeah.
Westworld. So, but yeah, there's a few great actors and actresses in here. Rila Fukushima
Mm-hmm.
is Yukio. I remember seeing her in, Arrow, but she's also in Game of Thrones. She's one of the Red Priestesses
Yes.
who
Okay.
looks at
Thank you.
Tyrion.
Thank you.
Um,
That was it. That was the one that was buggy because I'm like, it is from something I watched a lot, and I'm like, I
yeah,
just couldn't get it. And okay,
yeah,
very
and there's
small
one
role in Game of
actor.
Thrones, but
There's
okay.
one actor in this movie who I fucking adore. I absolutely love Hiroyuki Sanada. Everything he's in, I enjoy. He is utterly underutilized in this movie. I wish for the life of me that he was a villain. I wish he was the villain. Um,
Yeah, yeah, because he was in Westworld as well, right?
yes, he was also in the Shogun world.
Yeah,
That was also
yeah,
yeah.
he was awesome. Yeah, and I've it was very interesting that he kind of was sidelined a whole lot. Like I thought that he would be a very big part of the movie, and eventually, like, cause he was, the son that was going to get everything, and he seemed to
Mhm.
have been like he's gonna kill his father and kill his, you know, is it? Yeah, it's his daughter. Yeah, it is straight up. Yeah, his daughter.
Yeah,
Like it's like
Mariko is his
yeah,
daughter. Yeah.
taking out everyone so that he can have everything in his name,
Mhm.
but it's just kind of like, and then I don't know, the fight between him and Logan actually is pretty freaking like
No, it's a super
sick.
cool fight. One of
So
my favorite parts of the movie.
yeah,
My
yeah,
shot actually comes from that scene.
dude,
Whenever,
dude,
whenever he runs him through with the sword through the chest, and then he ultimately kills him thereafter. But
yeah,
whenever he's standing in the doorway and the rain's falling outside, and he's trimmed by like that glow, and he pulls the sword out, I was like, it was just a gorgeous fucking shot. And there's a lot of beautiful visuals in this movie, and a lot of high octane action sequences that are framed with
mm-hmm.
really great intent. Like the train sequence,
Oh my
that was
god,
fucking great.
that was
I
I
fucking
did
loved the
I
train sequence.
yeah, that was one of my scene. Like I have two choices here for my scene, and it was just I mean just because of how impressive it was. Like it was like heart racing. Like the act, it was creative. Like it was
Mhm.
so. I don't think I've ever seen a train
Whenever
sequence
he
really
like
like this.
jumps and he
Oh my
flies,
god, yes,
basically, dude,
yes, and then
that was
like
so cool.
and the dude's like yeah like so far behind him and he knows like if he just lets go and then like just flies
Yeah.
straight into the dude. Oh man,
Well,
yeah.
and the part when he like fakes jumping and the guy gets like splatted, like
Oh god, yeah, like I mean they're moving 300 miles an hour for
yeah, I
what
like that
like
they
they're
make mention of that earlier. It's one of those
speeding. Yeah,
It's one of those bullet trains, right? What
yeah.
do they go? 250, 300
Whew.
miles an hour.
Yeah, and those signs like that's I don't know. You see like on like I feel like in other movies it's on like just either like a top of a semi truck or maybe it is a train, but it's not a bullet train. And like when you see these signs coming up, they see them from very very far away, and like they're like,
They're there in
oh, it's
seconds.
coming, and
Yeah.
they have to like yeah, but these are like it's incredible that they stayed alive for as long as they
Yeah.
did.
No, like
Um,
there are a few great train sequences in action movies. Like Mission Impossible has one in the first Mission Impossible, where the helicopter's like trailing the train. That's a really good one.
Oh
Mission
yeah.
Impossible Dead Reckoning has a really great train sequence as well. So Mission Impossible is like the only other franchise I can really think of off the top of my head
Makes
that
sense.
that did a couple train
Yeah.
sequences. And I'm sure there's more, but like I mean, James Mangold recently, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny,
Mm-hmm.
a much lesser train action scene.
Yeah.
Shrouded in darkness, so you can't really tell if Harrison Ford is actually 20, 30 or 40, you know. Um,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
yeah, but this is like I loved how bright it was. It was vibrant, it looked good. It was stylized in a way that it didn't have to look hyper real, and
Mm-hmm.
I appreciated that a great deal as well. Um, and I think that that's like a big strength of this movie is that while it ultimately it's a comic book movie, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and it does a really good job of giving a comic book movie a lot of heart, but it falls back on a lot of normal comic book movie stuff, and it leans into comic book movie stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, the end of this movie, it's certainly a step down. It's not as good as the rest of the movie, but it's cool. It's
Mm-hmm.
fucking fun. You know,
Yeah.
I would have enjoyed if the setting could have been a little different. This just
That's what I thought, man. I'm like,
yeah.
how are you gonna have this Real Steel? You know, like Real Steel comes out, and we have Hugh Jackman fighting. You know, training the robots. We don't actually get to see Hugh Jackman fight the robot itself, but now, holy shit, we do get that.
Yeah.
And it's way better than Real Steel. This is an adamantium fighting
Yeah.
robot. Holy shit. That has just this super hot sword. I don't know. That was just a sick kind of weapon
Yeah,
that it had. Could just
automatically heated adamantium
and the
so that
two
it can
hands. Yeah,
slice.
you need two hands to
Yeah,
activate it, which
that
I
was
thought
funny,
a little
like,
cheesy.
it's
That was a little
yeah,
cheesy.
it's
But
one of those, like, it reminded me of Green Lantern when he's like, "The bigger you are, the faster you burn," you know, like, that whole thing, like, remembering a
yeah,
lesson you learned earlier in the
uh
movie
huh,
by, like, saying it out loud is hysterical, it's very cheesy,
mm-hmm, yeah. But I mean,
it's funny
like,
that that's a Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman connection, by the way,
come on, how cool would it have been? Like the building was cool that they were in.
no, yeah, it's
The
fine.
outside of the building looks infinitely cooler, and they're on a
Yeah,
mountainside, and they have a village right below them. I don't know. Tumble down the mountain a little bit, have a little
yeah.
plateau that you fight on a little bit, tumble down a little more, go in the village. That's what I thought was gonna happen. That's what I wanted to happen. I think the fight
No,
was
and
pretty
it's
cool. Um,
well, and
but
the thing is that I get why they have that fight, you know, because the movie's not quite over before that,
mm-hmm.
and you know that, you know, like it's not like there's not this sense of completion yet. You want something more, um, but I don't know, like it's just an interesting thematic choice to bring him back as the villain who faked his death and is now
Yeah.
like why did he fake his death?
Yeah, I don't. Maybe just so that I think he was actually dying, but the adamantium suit is the only thing keeping him alive now. So he just
Okay.
has to be in the suit 100% of the time. So he just couldn't stay in the bed, his deathbed with all the weird, I mean, pretty sick hospital bed thing and
Oh, very cool
technology that they
hospital
had
bed.
there. Yeah, that was pretty
Yeah.
sick. But I think that's maybe he was actually dying and or maybe he actually did die and he was just like, when I die, put me in the adamantium suit. Or maybe
I
he
don't know
probably
that.
can't get
Yeah.
resurrected like that, but um,
Yeah, I don't know. It was interesting
yeah,
though. Like
very weird
it
choice
was a
though.
bold choice, and I think I think it goes away too fast for it to have gotten enough weight. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like that fight's like, and I don't like a overly long action sequence, but there's like hardly anything said between these two beyond the like most obvious stuff, and it's
Mm-hmm.
over in like 6 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, like they start fighting and it ends very quickly, and it ends in a not very ceremonious way. Like it's just kind of like, yep, he fell and now he's flat. You know, that's it.
In Days of Future Past. Does he have his bone claws now? Or are they back to adamantium?
So in the future,
Oh shit. Oh yeah, I guess it is kind
yeah,
of
in the
fucky.
future he does have metal claws, but he transports into his old body, or his consciousness goes into his younger body, which is pre-adamantium.
Yeah.
So he does have bone claws in Days of Future Past, but it's not because of the events of this movie that he has bone claws.
So they just kind of forget,
No, yeah, I mean, like that's
or
just
they
kind
don't
of a.
really care about
They
that.
probably, you dip them in some adamantium, call it good, Um,
Because like I was wondering, like they were chopped off, like the rest of his skeleton's still adamantium, and like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
he does have the bone ones come out at the end. But I was wondering, like, do they just eventually like change back into like I don't know like how like
Yeah, no, they don't spend any time on that. They just go ahead and give them adamantium claws again.
okay because
And
yeah
that's
like
one of those continuity things, but it's also something that like I said, if you have adamantium, the rest of his body survived that process. If you just dip his fucking fists in adamantium, they'll probably be fine.
that's
You know?
fair. Yeah, that is true. It's not like a whole body transfusion again. This is a
Yeah.
just a little simpler thing. But I was wondering, I didn't know if that was like a continuity thing of like that they needed to slice his claws
There's
off or something.
no reason beyond a cool
Okay.
threat. Like, and I appreciated that. Like, what's Wolverine capable of once he's not this anymore? Like I
Mm-hmm.
appreciated that, and I really enjoyed. This might be the coolest post credit scene in any Marvel movie ever. Did you
Ooh,
watch it?
yes, the airport.
Yeah,
It was pretty sick. Yeah, this
dude, I fucking loved
it
that
just
post credit.
seemed.
Like,
I think you're actually right here. Most post credit scenes they seem like post credit scenes. This just kind of seemed like it could have been a real scene in the movie. Like kind of maybe should have
and
been.
that's the thing too, is
Uh,
that it wouldn't fit though. Like it
that
wouldn't
yeah
have fit in the
okay
movie. So it's perfect that it is a post
yeah
credit scene. Usually it's like
huh
if it seems like a post credit scene, it doesn't have any weight. But also if it does carry weight, you're like, why wasn't this in the fucking movie? You know
hmm.
what I'm saying? This was
This is
like a
yeah
perfectly placed post credit scene that got me super excited for Days of Future Past because
mm-hmm.
that's exactly what it feeds into. It's not like it's a post credit scene that they don't follow up on at all. There's a little bit of a continuity thing that, I mean, at this point, it's like 30, 40 years in the future, I think. Or not 30 or 40, 20 years in the future that they are in whenever they're trying to
Okay.
battle. And then they send them back like 50 or 60 years to deal with the threat. So, like, them being aware of it right now in this 2013 airport is kind of,
Okay. Yeah.
but
Because
that's a
did
small
they
thing.
say
That's a
that
small thing.
like the
Someone is building a weapon.
okay
As Ian McKellen, I think Ian McKellen puts it like that, or
mm-hmm.
Patrick, either one of them. But that, like, seeing them on screen again and again dealing with the events of The Last Stand, where Wolverine is like, "Oh my God, how are you fucking alive? Like, how are you here?"
That's
Um,
true. Yeah. Yeah. I've learned a thing or two. What did he say? Like yeah, he's like
uh,
I have a few tricks up my sleeve. I don't know something.
something witty
Yeah,
and
along those lines.
throw away that so they never have to explain why or how that happened.
He's back.
Because he can transfer his consciousness. That I get. Why does he look like Patrick Stewart still? That's the part that doesn't make any sense, and that's the part that's awesome. Um,
Headcanon. He's just
oh
using his
yes,
powers to make him seem like
yes,
Patrick Stewart, but that
it's a
makes
good
him
call,
weaker in the process. It's the
and that's
mystique.
why he still can't walk.
It's the mystique thing. It's
Yeah,
when Magneto tells her like if you're constantly having this facade, you're only half focused on what you're actually trying to focus on. And Professor X
dude.
at this
Yeah,
moment,
the way that scene builds, and Magneto approaches him, and he's ready to fucking fight, and
yeah,
he
he's like,
freezes him. He's
uh,
like, "There's a danger coming,"
yeah.
and he's like,
Everyone
"Why
in the
would I trust?"
background still moving though, like,
Freezes.
and then like all of a sudden they just stop, and then like
And Logan
Logan's
doesn't
like, he's
realize it,
like,
but you realize it, and you're like you
like,
already know, which is why this scene is so good, is
yeah,
because it got me fucking hype, and I
yeah.
know what happens You know what I'm saying? It's not like this was a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
It was just
Yeah,
like it's so well done that it's like, oh, okay,
that's
yeah,
true.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's fucking cool. Now I'm super fucking excited for Days of Future Past. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
I was already excited for it, but like now I'm like, fucking get me there. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I did like it. I guess the little continuity things in between, yeah, it's whatever.
It is.
That doesn't really matter.
That's
I
something
just
I've never really given a shit about with the Foxman franchise. Like, it's like
that's kind of how
they
comics
never
roll,
they
anyways.
never give a shit. They
Yeah.
never give a shit. So why should I give a shit? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
I guess a comic series they do care about continuity, but I guess like just the
this is
idea of
technically outside that series. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's not an X-Men movie. It's the Wolverine.
Hmm. So yeah, I think in whenever you were talking about your shot, by the way, that when he just pulls the sword out of him, the rain, and
Yeah.
then like it's framed, it was like usually there hasn't been a shot in a movie that has gotten me to instantly know, in a while. But that one, like like it came on the screen, I opened up the sheet to go type it in, I saw that you had it in there, and I was like, yeah, no, I think that that's just this is like
It's a gorgeous fucking
the
shot.
first
Yeah.
shot or shot in a movie in a while that I was like, holy shit, like that was just kind of it. But I did have a few extras as well. Like whenever he is heading towards that tower at the end, and
Yeah.
all the like bow and arrows are shot at him, all the ropes like stuck in him, and
Dude.
he's like
Yes.
he's just walking along the road and like slowly like getting slower and slower. Oh man, I love.
And that's what this movie fucking gets is like how cool and sad Logan is. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just the
Mm,
combination of being like the biggest badass you've ever seen in your life while being the most pathetic shell of a man is wonderful. And he does it then like it's that
mm,
pushing forth in the face of that sadness that makes him so riveting for me. Like
yeah,
the idea that he can be experiencing such deep, I don't know how else to put it, depression, like
yeah.
a sense of uselessness of like, you know, his friends are dead, X-Men The Last Stand happened, he killed Jean, like
Mm-hmm.
he is fucking down, and
Yeah.
to keep going in the face of that, it fucking rocks, man. Like my favorite scene of the movie, that I love that they harped on this because it's something that I don't think they do enough of in the movies that I love they do in comics, is Logan's connection to nature and his
Mm.
connection to animals and
Oh,
beasts
dude.
specifically. So when he finds that bear and he tells
Oh.
him to calm down, and he's like, "Don't make me do this," you know, like, and it almost feels like he's having a conversation with
Mm-hmm.
the bear, and he's like, "Don't make me do this," and he you know, the bear tilts his head like,
Yeah.
"Do do it."
Please. Like, please.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like,
and he
oh.
does it, but when he goes to the bar and bitches that dude, I fucking love it.
Yeah.
I love that scene, dude. You know, you're the tough guy.
Mm. Oh, so you're the
You
one that that was with that bear. You're the one who put down the bear. Yeah. Yes, I was. He was like confident at it at first, that guy or whatever. Um,
you didn't have the balls to go and put it out of its misery. You just let it run. You know? Fucking love it.
mm.
When he pins him against the wall and he's holding him there like, God damn. And
The
it's just one of
arrow,
those things.
the poisoned arrow. He's like,
Yeah.
and I thought these were illegal, or whatever. And he's like, oh, I don't dip my arrows in poison. I don't do that. He's like, oh, then you have nothing to worry about, or whatever. Like as it's like in his hand, he's like,
And he's like,
oh shit.
"Ah," and he
He's
like
like, oh
panics. Yeah.
fuck. He's like, damn it, you're right. But that's the thing is that weren't they like from that Viper? Who is that girl? Viper? Like, does she have like a character name? The like kind of venomous.
Yeah, Viper.
Is
I'm
it
pretty
okay?
sure her name is
Viper.
Viper.
Okay, yeah. Because didn't those kind of come from her? Like isn't
The poison. I think
yeah.
that was kind of vague. I think they were making a point that her poison has like kind of the same effects as the poison that gentleman
Okay,
dipped his
so this
arrows in.
was just
I don't
random
think it was
hunters.
necessarily. Yeah, it's just some guy who had access to poison. It wasn't like
Wait a
it's a
minute.
conspiracy that goes to the top.
Wasn't there a scene of them actually buying them though? Like before they went out on the hunt, they were in a store buying the arrows. Maybe I think that was a thing. Um, and Logan or someone sees them leave. Yeah. No, I think it is Logan. Logan initially um am I remit I feel like this is a scene. Like he sees them
No,
buy
it's
these
ringing a
arrows.
bell. I'm blanking though. I watched the movie 4 days ago or 5 days ago,
I think
which
he
makes it about 6 or 7 movies ago for me.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think he does see these people just and I think it is just some random hunting like sports good, kind of
yeah,
store. So definitely not the. I don't think Viper is like
because
on the
she's over.
side.
She's over in Japan.
Yeah, yeah.
She's
Oh,
serving with like
oh, and this
she's
is
like the dude's
oh,
doctor.
duh. Hello, yeah. This is in America that where Logan is. Okay, duh, he's not even in Japan yet. Okay, that makes a whole lot more sense. Um, but yeah, no, that him going down to the bar and just yeah, that dude had
I
it coming.
love that.
That dude had it coming, and this, he
He
promised
had it
Gene that
coming.
he wouldn't hurt another anything. Like that was his promise. I'm not going to hurt
Mhm.
anything ever again. And this was like the first kind of thing or anything that he had to.
Well, he's still got he's got vengeance in his heart. He's got a deep sadness, a deep well of sadness that he
Yeah,
can't escape.
he's drinking
So,
himself to sleep every
and
night.
he still wants to be a hero. He still wants to be that guy. Um, like another one of my favorite parts of the movie, one of my favorite lines, is when he tosses the dude out the window, and she's like, "How did you know there was a pool down there?" And he's like, "I didn't."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and I was like, "Oh." I was like, when he did it, I didn't remember there was a pool down there either. I was like, oh shit. And then I felt it was like kind of a cop out. I wish he would have just splatted. Really.
I know his lines there were. I mean, he had just a lot of badass line deliveries here. Like he was talking about like you got 10 words, to change my mind or whatever, and then he says, I don't know. He's like that was 9. You got one more, and if I don't like what or if what you have to say, if I don't like what I hear, see you later. I don't care. And then yeah, he just tosses him out. There he goes.
Fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself,
Yeah.
pretty boy. That's one. I think that might be my line. Is when he says, "Go fuck yourself, pretty boy."
That was a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. I think mine's I believe he's talking to. This has to be. Let's see. Yes, there's no way it's Yukio, right? No, it has to be Marco. Yeah, I think they're in their sleep. Yeah, they just came in from the rain maybe, and they were like sleeping. I think they're cuddling maybe. This is like they've had their kiss. I think at this point
Mhm.
maybe, and she's kind of prodding at him like what's going on, like who is it, what's wrong, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And they have. I think it's just talking about Gene. I think.
Yeah.
But she, I think she asked like what happened or whatever, and he says
I killed her.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
died. I killed her, along with the Kazuri, and like the Kazuri was,
The Wolverine.
yeah,
Yeah.
I thought, and just the delivery from Hugh Jackman, he's like
Well,
it's
this is
a crazy thing to say. I don't know out loud, but like he just makes it sound so meaningful and have like emotion behind it, and I don't know. Hugh
he
Jackman's
is a fantastic actor, dude.
yeah.
There's something that stands out about these movies every time I watch them. And I hate whenever people are like, he was too tall, Like we had that conversation
Oh
on Man of Steel, like the
yeah.
physique thing. Like Wolverine is. You were talking about how it's odd to think about someone being 5'3". Wolverine is 5'3". That is how tall he is. He's a little fucking bowling ball who runs through motherfuckers.
Damn.
So
Hmm.
the thing for me is that the writing that this Logan is given with a lesser actor could be fucking terrible. With a lesser actor who doesn't
Yeah.
feel like they get the character as much as Hugh Jackman does, because that was a huge thing for Hugh Jackman after X-Men Origins Wolverine was like he was like, I'm never doing this again with someone who doesn't get it. Like he's like, I need someone who fucking gets it. So James Mangold directs the next 2 Wolverine movies, and what Logan makes clear is that he fucking gets it. Like
Yeah.
that's something he's got
Oh
this
yeah.
character down.
Hmm.
But it's these movies, and even the X-Men trilogy initially with a lesser actor could be terrible because he is the centerpiece.
Yeah.
And I have the feeling he's the centerpiece because of Hugh Jackman. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why
hard.
he is that guy.
It's hard to imagine anyone else in this. Like that's the thing, is that like even Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, it's hard to imagine anyone else, but still people are like, Tom Cruise. It would have been cool to see him as Iron
Mm.
Man, or like you could see some other people stepping into the suit, and I don't know, kind of doing it. But like Logan, there was one person I see in my mind when I think of Wolverine. Like even like if I'm looking at comics, if I'm looking at the cartoon version of Wolverine, I am still seeing Hugh Jackman come through.
I'm thinking about Hugh
Like
Jackman,
yeah,
bub. I love, and
he's
even when like his voice is not the same as like any other Wolverine. Like I love animated Wolverines. Like he's got kind of a high pitched thing going on. He's got a little bit of that,
mm-hmm.
But Hugh Jackman plays him with a little bit more of a deeper resonance, and
um
it still hits so fucking hard. Like that's why, again, going back to that physique conversation, it will never matter to me as long as the actor's good at what they're doing.
yeah
Like the actor's good at what they're doing, it does not matter. Now, like what you said, to negate it, if Batman's 5'3", that is odd. That does look weird.
yeah, and maybe there is an actor out there that could do it. You just have to like shoot it differently.
Oh yeah,
You'd
you'd
have
have to
to
shoot
make them appear taller. I think
it.
there's no way you can kind of get around that. But it would be interesting to see like a 5'3" Logan. I threw out 5'3" just randomly last time. I had no
Well,
idea.
and I'm he's like 5. I think that's his. It might be his fucking height. But like 5'4", 5'5".
Yeah,
5'3",
Wolverine
5'3"
yeah, as portrayed in the X-Men films, he's a foot taller. Hugh Jackman is 6'3", and Wolverine is 5'3". You are right in
No, and
comic
like
book.
it was just so crazy growing up with my only exposure to Hugh Jackman being Wolverine. And now, like, I remember when I was 18, this is going to make me sound so fucking dorky. My 18th birthday, January 10th, 2018. I wanted to go see a movie, and my family was like, "What movie do you want to go see?" And there's not. I don't want to act like there was a ton of options, but
Mm,
there were options, and I picked The Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman, Zac Efron, Zendaya. And that was my first exposure to
mm,
Hugh Jackman as a singer. I was curious. I was like, "How could this?" I want to see. This man is fucking ridiculously talented. And then I've watched Les Mis since then and
mm-hmm,
been blown away by how
mm.
good he is in that.
Yeah, him in the
Like
Prestige. He's
yeah, the Prestige. I mean,
he's
just
a
like
showman.
even
Yeah, a little
even
showman in there.
beyond even beyond acting, like the fact that this dude
Mm,
he's a theater trained actor.
yeah,
Like that dude can sing, that dude can dance, and it blows me away every time because he broke through playing Wolverine. Like
yeah.
it's like that's not the dude you expect to start breaking out in song, But I'm praying against all odds, Deadpool 3 gives me just a little something. I'm praying they give me a
That
little
could be the
musical
movie
number.
they do it though.
I
That
know that would be the movie they'd do it in. That's why I'm like, I'm
ooh,
praying that if they can, it's that.
I would
But
like that.
regardless,
I would like
I would
that.
love it. I would love it. But no, yeah, like Hugh Jackman's just so ridiculously talented,
Yeah.
and the way that he brings the gravitas to this role that it is so difficult to imagine anyone else playing him,
Yeah.
And I invite it. I want this character to be passed on. Obviously, I don't want our Wolverine in the official MCU to be 60-year-old Hugh Jackman.
Mhm.
Like I would prefer. And frankly, if he is, Laura Kinney should be Wolverine, the youngin from
Yeah.
Logan, and I
Could be
would
a
love
cool way
that.
to
I
have them
would love
both.
that.
Could be
Uh-huh.
very cool. When
If
I was
Logan has continued to be a mentor role or whatever, but
mhm.
regardless.
I was looking up when I was looking up the height of him, the common or the I guess a fan cast that is common is Daniel Radcliffe, who is 5'5" in real life. It kind of has the
Taron,
hair and the beard
what's his name?
for
The
Logan.
kid from the Kingsman movies, Taron uh, Egerton. He also played Elton John.
Yeah, yeah. I know who you're talking about. Let's see. Rocket Man. It
Am I,
is Taron
I was right.
Egerton.
Okay, Taron
Edgerton or
Egerton.
Egerton. Ooh. He kind of had,
That's
yeah.
a common. That's another common fan cast. He's got the vibe. If you look up Taron Egerton Wolverine, like there are people who have photoshopped him as Wolverine several times, and frankly, he's a very talented actor who I could absolutely see pulling this off. Um,
Yeah, it is an
but
interesting
regardless,
thought to like who will pick up the mantle next, and they might go with like we want a female Wolverine because it's just so impossible.
and frankly, if they go with Laura Kinney, I would love that. Laura Kinney is a
Yeah.
great character unto herself. I would absolutely adore that choice. I don't think they will. I think that, when it comes to the X-Men, you already have such a large plethora of characters in terms of gender. Like
That's true.
there's
Yeah.
already so many women that it's like, I understand in other properties how they've kind of shifted to trying to be like, what if we gender bend this character? And I never mind it. If I never give a shit, I invite it. I don't care. But with the X-Men, there's no real reason to do that. Like every character, there are so many characters in the X-Men that you can pull it off. You can pull it off with the way it is.
Yeah.
But Laura Kinney, I mean, it's a woman Wolverine right there. I would highly invite it. I would love that. And frankly, I would love if they brought Daphne Keene back to play it from Logan.
It's gonna be
If she,
really interesting to see what they do in Deadpool 3. Like whether it is the Wolverine we know and we've seen, or it's just a variant, or just
Mhm.
multiple variants of him. It's like
there will be there
um,
will be versions of
yeah,
Deadpool and Wolverine in
it's
this
gonna
movie.
be
Garrett.
real interesting to see what they do, and whether it's clear from this that we will see where they will go from here on out. Whether they'll make it very clear that Hugh Jackman's here to stay, or this is his final, sort of role. I don't know, but
I mean, I don't anticipate it'll be his last time as Wolverine. If Logan wasn't his last time as Wolverine, Deadpool 3 is not going to be his last time as Wolverine.
he's gonna say it's his last time every time, and then he's gonna
Yeah,
keep coming
like
back.
I
Yeah.
mean, because there's going to be a big multiversal movie. He'll be in that. If he's in Deadpool 3, he's going to be in the big multiversal movie. It's
Yeah,
just the way it is.
that's probably true. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and I mean the longest stand right after Deadpool 3, he will be the longest standing after Patrick Stewart. Is that right? Is that the only other who has the longest streak of the
Yes,
same character?
in terms of years. Wait, no, that's not true anymore. Michael Keaton, now that he's played the Flash,
That's right. We did. That's right. We did
or
it
not
right
played the
there.
Flash, been
Yeah.
in the Flash as Bruce Wayne, which I
Okay.
horse shit. But regardless,
Damn. I guess
besides
sustained
Michael Keaton,
consistently. Yeah.
it will be Hugh Jackman after that.
Yeah. And yeah, that's. I mean, he got the. I don't think there's really any other way to go
Oh,
with this
and I
movie.
wanted there to be. I wanted to
Yeah,
pick like
but like
I
the
said at the
character
top.
development is just so good here with
It's
Logan
incredible.
that like he is the character, even though there are some really cool like Mariko is really cool, and like
Love
just
Mario.
like it's the classic trope of like I don't want the throne and that's why you're perfect for it, and like the kind of like the Knives Out sort of thing where it's like you're gonna disappoint the whole family, like the will reading is about to happen,
Right.
I know it's about to go down, I'm giving it to you, I know I'm giving it to you, sort of thing. I love that trope. Anytime I can get it, and yeah, that was interesting. But I mean, Logan's development is just—it is the whole movie. It's him
Yeah.
grappling with his morality or mortality. It's him grappling with Jean the whole time, trying to let her go.
Those scenes
Oh,
too, like I love Fom K. Johnson and Hugh Jackman's chemistry. It's like some of my favorite chemistry in all of comic book movies because they always play it as forbidden.
mm,
It's something that can't happen
mm-hmm,
that they want to happen.
yeah,
Oh, and that's how Hugh Jackman plays it. And it is a little bit how Jean plays it, but there's always this hesitance with Jean too. Like she's not even sure if she wants it, but she feels it, you know?
mm-hmm,
It's and they play every single scene they have ever had together that way, and it always comes through. And the fact that this was their first time acting off each other since 2006 and they
damn,
still have that chemistry is fantastic, dude. I got chills just talking about it.
Yeah.
I fucking love, and I've
Ooh.
talked about that with X-Men Last Stand. They were like a very formative ship for me when I was younger. I
Yeah.
fucking loved
This
them.
would be, yeah, this would take it up to another level here, I would say. Even higher. Yeah, and like they're like what they say to each other, like, can you stay, or like, can you stay for a little bit, or something like that,
Yeah,
like,
you've
I
always
can't.
you've
um
whenever she delivers that line where she's like, you've been wanting to be here with me, like you've been wanting to die.
yeah, come,
Why don't you just
it's
stay?
so easy to die.
Come
Come to
stay
me,
with
like,
me.
yeah, just come to me, it's so easy. And like, it is a moment where you're like, shit, like I guess if I mean, I know Logan continues after this, but like, if you're seeing this for the first time, I don't know. I mean, maybe the threat of Wolverine actually dying is there,
Hmm.
and there are a few times where it does
Well,
come
I mean,
close. Um,
I guess that there was probably like Days of Future Past comes out a year after this. I'm assuming that movie had been announced. I doubt it was like,
okay.
so marketing wise, it's probably known that Logan doesn't die strictly. Um, but at this time, they're ushering a new era of X-Men in a couple years prior in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
The original X-Men trilogy is long concluded. There is a chance, I think, that Logan doesn't make it out of this movie.
Hmm.
At that time, in 2013. Um,
Wow.
and I think that would have granted it a lot of stakes. Obviously we know a lot. We know a lot of what's to come, so we know that he doesn't die. But
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Yeah, that was my other scene selection, was whenever he does die and he rips his own heart. Well, not his own heart, but the thing that was killing him, the little
yeah,
robot matrix kind of thing.
yeah,
I don't know.
little bug.
Ew. But yeah, when he pulls that out, and he has that meeting with Jean right there, right? Like as he's dying, he meets
Mm-hmm.
Jean one more time, and he's like, is that like his final? Like,
I'm pretty sure that's the final time.
I'm
He's
letting
like,
you go.
I can't
Like,
stay here. Yeah.
yeah, like, I'm letting you go. And it's, I mean, man, yeah, his character development was just unbelievable, like, this movie. And it was so satisfying. Like, I expected this, like, I don't know, to just be kind of very low on the list, but then I got through watching it, and
Dude, and I'm
now
not
that
gonna
I'm,
lie, I thought it was gonna like go down when we talked about it. I'm like, I might throw this bitch up a couple spots if
yeah,
I'm being
the
for
more
real.
I'm remembering it, like, it was a couple days ago, and usually I'm a little bit more fresh off of a watch for a pod, but like, now that I'm talking about it, remembering more of the movie, I'm like, oh wow, no, this actually is quite good. And I guess right now for me, it is at, let's see, yes, at 19. It's above The Dark Knight Rises, below Batman Begins, V for Vendetta, and the first X-Men. But man,
Yeah.
yeah, I
I
don't think I can put it above the first X-Men. That would be,
I couldn't either. I actually gave it, I would, again, because of how much I love the character of the Wolverine and how much I love this property, this franchise, this character, this actor, just, and the actors in this movie. Like I said, I love Hiroyuki Sanada so deeply. I wish that he could have been a bigger part of the movie. I wanted so badly to give him performance, but he just doesn't get shit to work with, so I couldn't.
yeah.
Um, but I have it at 12, which is obscenely high
Mm.
to some, I imagine. I have it right below. My 10 and 11 are X2 and X-Men, so I couldn't quite elevate it beyond those. But the ones I have right below it might be blasphemous to some.
Mm.
My 13 is Batman Begins, and my 14 is Thor. Um,
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I have the same X-Men order that you do. Um,
mhm.
but I still have Thor and Batman Begins above it. But this definitely has way better character work, which is incredible. Like, that's incredible. Like, origin movies for Thor and Batman Begins. I think there's better.
And
There's
Batman Begins, a little arguable. Like Christian Bale's Batman does have quite the journey in Batman Begins, but
I don't know,
um,
man.
and
This
I would
is
argue And you know, I think I enjoy it more than Batman Begins. Batman Begins is like a miles better movie, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Like that's something that I can honestly say about this movie is that I like it a great deal. Um, and it's by no means bad, I don't think.
Hmm.
Um,
It's just
but it's not
not that
great.
top tier. It's not.
No,
It's
no,
not that.
because Batman
Yeah.
Begins is like one of our top 5 like critically best movies on our list
Yeah.
by our rating here. Um, and it's not that. Like it's just not, you know, and there are movies I have below it that I would say it's probably not quite as good as, you know,
Hmm.
V for Vendetta, for example. I don't think it's quite as good as V for Vendetta, but
Hmm.
it's solid. Even fucking Iron Man. I think I'd probably say Iron Man's probably a better movie than this is.
Hmm. Yeah. And
Actually extremely similar structure. Um Iron Man and the Wolverine, which I hadn't fully realized. Um in terms of just the journey the character goes on to face off with the giant mecha robot version of himself. Um,
mhm. Yeah. And Wolverine, this also has kind of like a little crime boss
yeah,
storyline thrown in there too, with like the yakuza and all of just the taking over of a crime kind of. I don't
and I
know. It is.
appreciated that it had a lot going on, but it wasn't overstuffed.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel like there was too much. It was a very simple movie,
Yeah.
and I talk about this every once in a while when we get a simple movie. Those are easy to like, man. Like if
Yeah.
you don't overstuff a movie, if you don't overcomplicate it,
Mm-hmm.
it will make me enjoy it. It might be a matter of whether or not it's the best movie, but I have a great fucking time watching this movie, and I'd rewatch it sooner than a lot of the movies. Like, for example, Batman Begins. I would rewatch this before Batman Begins.
That's true.
Um,
Yeah. I think
and there's a
I'd
lot
go
of
there
factors
too.
that weigh into that,
Yeah.
runtime and shit like that. Like it's different, but um,
Wow.
it's deeply resonant, I think. You know, the ending falls a little flat, but so does the ending of Batman Begins for me. Um,
Yeah.
for different reasons, but it's I'm shocked by how much I'm talking about how much I like this movie.
Ooh. Yeah. Just put it above the first X-Men is hard. But that's the thing, is that my X-Men movies are just a lot lower. Um,
Yeah, and
I don't have that
like I said,
history.
I have a deep history with these
Hmm.
movies. And the fact that they're still 10, 11, 12.
Yeah. And mine 14, 16, 18.
Mhm.
So, um,
Yeah, like I remember watching the original X-Men trilogy on my little fucking DVD player that wasn't even the screen that wasn't even the size of the laptop in front of me,
hmm.
and all like doing and I remember even whenever my mom finally did get a laptop, watching it on those like with the little DVD tray and throwing it in there and being like, "Whoa, this is the future."
Game
You know,
changer.
like
Yeah.
yeah. Um
Yeah.
I
What
was
a.
like, this is gonna be how I always watch stuff, but and then like I said, I saw this on the biggest of screens, a drive-in movie theater. Um,
Hmm.
wasn't the greatest watch of all time, but I remember watching it on that screen, and there are parts that I remember pulling me back in and being like, oh shit. Like that train sequence in a drive-in was fucking
That
gnarly.
train
I
sequence
loved
is
that.
pretty
You
sick,
know?
man. Yeah. It's. I was going back and forth on my scene. Like the emotional scene is whenever he rips his heart out and he has that moment with Gene and he comes back and then it's like a sick fight at the end. It is cool,
Mhm.
but man, that train sequence was actually just really impressive. Like
Oh yeah.
and it's purposeful. Like they are running for a reason. She is like
Mhm.
they are actively, very much so, trying to kill her. I mean, I don't know. That's the thing. The crime part of the story is very simple. Guy wants to take over the crime empire, but going to be handed to his daughter. He has to kill
Yeah.
daughter and father, or just daughter. Father's already on his way out. It is very simple, um, but it makes the threats very real. Like it makes that train sequence have purpose. Like they are
Mhm.
needing to run because they just want her dead at any cost. Like it doesn't matter, um, and I think I'll stick with him ripping his heart out. I think it's just
That scene, and I mean, like Yukio's going fucking ham all the while. Like that's an underrated part of that scene is the action, and whenever
yeah.
he stops the sword with his claws, and they come back out, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah, and I'm a sucker for sword fights too. And it's, over the top sword fights. But that's what I want in a comic book movie. If I'm not in a traditional, paying honor, to Japanese culture and stuff like that. This is not really the same. This is the sword fights I want. I want them to be clacking
yeah,
and just spinning around, doing all the cool
yeah.
shit.
Let's start. It's graceful, but it's not the type of graceful it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like it's certainly it's stylized for sure.
It works. They're
It does,
and
and
that's their whole thing is that like they train. You see like people just training in the other room, just like fight. And it's I don't know. It was
who's
really
that?
cool. That the
He's
aesthetic
good.
of their like compound or of like his
Mhm.
I don't know what to kind of call that his where his deathbed was.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I'd say compound. Like
yeah,
that's an accurate
that
word.
whole aesthetic
Like
and
the courtyard in the middle, and
yes,
yeah, that was fucking
yes. Oh
gorgeous.
man, yeah. It's I don't know. It was really impressive. Like I really really did enjoy it. And yeah, Marco again. Like that's the thing is she was the closest to the character.
Oh yeah,
From just if Hugh Jackman just wasn't the complete
Hugh
centerpiece
Jackman.
of it.
Yeah.
But like her like running off and gonna jump off the cliff there. She's like
Ooh, like, and again, he's like, "Oh, be careful! You almost slipped." Like he's like,
yeah.
"Don't do that."
Mm-hmm.
Like and a good sign of where his heart is at in terms of living. Like it's not like it's
Mm-hmm.
just obviously he wants to save her life. It's a separate life from himself, but it indicates that he recognizes life as worth living. It's not like
Yeah.
he's given up totally.
Yeah.
That's a
And
that's a wonderful scene.
he's over in Japan just to say goodbye, and he said, "I'm going back instantly." He's like, "I'm just saying goodbye. I don't care, whatever. I'm leaving." And then, obviously, the hero he is, he gets enthralled in this whole thing, and it goes down from there. But I love that at first he's there for nothing. He's not really attached to anything, because he's just been through like he's saved people from war multiple times. Like this isn't probably the first like veteran from a war that has asked him like, "Hey, will you come see me on my deathbed?" I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm assuming he's probably been through this a couple times. Turns out this guy just had a little bit more resources at his disposal.
yeah,
I mean, dude just found all the adamantium there is. They had only a little bit enough to make Logan a skeleton, but goddamn, this dude made a whole samurai robot that kept him alive. I mean, hey, this dude's baller. I want to think that his like bed too was like Adam. I don't know what that was, but
it was something, bro.
yeah, dude was powerful. Was really really cool. And I'm a sucker for just Japanese visuals as well. So I loved being in
The
Japan.
aesthetics there
Um,
were
yeah, like that
on
village.
10,
Like,
and it's based off
mm,
like you have got to dig into some Wolverine comics because this is a part of Wolverine's lore. Like this isn't just a. I mean, like there's a lot of movie original
mm,
stuff in this film, but the general outline of it about how he
mm-hmm,
goes to Japan and kind of falls for a Japanese woman and
mm-hmm,
has that relationship. It's really really good and very faithful. I believe that's a Chris Claremont run if
mm,
I recall
yeah.
correctly.
A samurai with
Um,
no master. What else?
the
Like
Ronin.
yeah, the Ronin. Ah, man, love that. Um, for Wolverine, the first Ronin. Sorry, Hawkeye. You're not the first Ronin mentioned in Marvel,
Yeah,
ever. Um, and I would love to see like Wolverine with the samurai sword and the claws to just see the combos that he could do and pull off with those would be pretty sick. Like if he actually fought with the sword and his claws at the same time, like he could use
mhm,
like I'm imagining like he's holding the sword, but then his like claws are like a
yeah,
guard, like
yeah,
they're
it's
out
like a
and like
cross guard,
yes,
yeah,
oh dude, it would just be so
that
sick.
would be gnarly.
Um,
Yeah, no, like I said, I love that comic run. It's from 1982. It's called Wolverine. It covers his battle with the Yakuza, the Hand organization
ooh,
from like, you know,
yeah, Deadpool or
Daredevil
Deadpool,
and all
Daredevil,
that,
yeah,
yeah, all that
Deadpool.
stuff. And his engagement to Mariko Yoshida. Um,
Yeah, and
So
leaving Jean. And it was really nice. Like them, kind of it right whenever they found like her house. It was like her family house or something out there, and like whenever they first got there, I'm like, oh, they're falling in love. Like I'm like, this dude. There's no way that he's like not becoming vulnerable to this woman right
yeah,
now. And then getting, the like they're sleeping together. And then he has, Gene wakes him up. I think is that how that starts, sort of thing? Is like they're actually sleeping, and then like he has kind of like a Gene wakes. Oh yeah,
yeah.
he kind of like pulls the
He's
claws
ready
out.
to
He's like,
kill.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. And then that's what breaks into that conversation of him. Yeah, she died. I killed her, along with the Kazuri. Okay, that's right. Man, yeah, that's crazy that like I'm not even remembering the movie fully, like all the details that I normally would, and it makes me just want to go back and rewatch it that much
no,
more.
yeah. Well, and it's
Um,
this is one of the things that I appreciate about doing the podcast a couple days removed from the movie
mm-hmm.
is that what you remember about an even decent film is the stuff you liked about it.
Yeah.
Like the stuff I
Mm-hmm.
didn't like about it doesn't stick with me. I don't care as much about that. I like what I like about the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I like thinking about that stuff. And frankly, there wasn't much that I didn't like about the movie. It's just that there are elements of it that just like writing wise, there were points where it was just a little weak. That was all,
Yeah. Who was the uh was it like I don't that one dude that was like kind of a Hawkeye type but then was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like I don't know. That was kind of a weird like he seemed to have
That was
been
like the weirdest part of the movie
was
is
he the
his
third
presence,
guy?
Harada,
No.
played by William Lee.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was I don't know, that was just the only kind of it felt like he was very much so just trying to save Mariko and do anything he could for Mariko, but then I guess he was, you know,
He
the
was actually working for her dad.
yeah, and
Um,
try
but then he ultimately chooses to fight, like to chooses the side of Wolverine.
okay.
Like that stuff was cool. It's just it's unclear. Like that is kind of muddied. That was a good thing to bring up. I kind of if there was any part of the movie that was a little overstuffed, it was even having that character around.
Yeah, and
Kind
it
of
was
like
like was it Mariko's ex, Like they had a oh, that's
they
right. They
had
were
a
going to
thing.
get married, but then it's like, what stopped you guys? And he's like, well, our dad said we couldn't get married at 13 or like 12 or something like that. Okay.
She got her arranged marriage to Norubo or Naruba. I can't remember what
That's
his name
right. Oh
was.
yeah, that fucking just
Noburo.
dickweed. Yeah, that what like he was with two other girls. Oh yeah, that's the dude Logan tosses out on the pool. That's right.
Actually, fun fact
Um,
about that guy, Brian T, the gentleman who plays Noboru.
mhm.
He was the voice of Ronan in Visions. That was him. Um,
That's
in Star
sick.
Wars Visions, for those unfamiliar.
Vastly
Uh,
different characters there. One
very,
guy who's
very.
cheating on his wife with two other girls, and he's like, "Well, what do you expect? I'm the fucking I'm the whatever.
I'm the
What was
guy.
yeah? What
I'm
was his
that man.
position? He was like some
I can't
government.
remember.
I
He
don't
was
know.
trying to climb the. He was trying to climb the political
Yeah.
hierarchy, though.
Um,
Um,
it's just what we do. Yeah. I don't know. It would have been nice if he did just splat. And there was no pool there, but I don't know. Maybe they already had one F bomb. For the PG-13, go fuck yourself, pretty boy.
Go fuck
Um,
yourself, pretty boy. Yeah, I
and
love
maybe
that. I
a
love that.
splat would push it into the rated R category. I don't know, because this is PG-13,
Fair.
isn't it? I think. Yes.
Well, they don't even have to show him splat. Just like
Ah,
don't show that he lived.
yeah, just ah,
Like show Yukio, or was it Yukio who was with him at the time?
think so. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She walks through the window. Like if she just like walks to the window, looks down, and then like looks back, like that's all you need. Like
that's fair. That
But
is
I do
yeah.
like they're not like him not knowing that there's a pool down there. Him just happening to live doesn't make the intention of that act any
That's
less.
true.
Like
Logan
he
meant
meant
to
to throw
kill
him
him.
out of a fucking
Yeah,
window.
he meant to kill him.
I
Um,
wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind.
damn.
But I'm the
Okay.
best at what I do, and what I do, it ain't pretty. Fucking love Wolverine, man.
Mm-hmm.
I love that we got a few more bubs. We got a couple bubs in this movie. It's
Mm-hmm.
something that I wish the the previous movie iterations of Wolverine could have just, you know, give me a little something here. I like when he throws out a bub.
It's his thing. It's just
Yeah,
his thing.
calls people bub.
He's got to be bubbing. If Wolverine's
Boy
not
be bubbin'.
bubbing, I don't know. I don't want it.
BBB. Boys be bubbin'.
Boys, yes. This is we need the bubs from
Bubs be
Wolverine.
bubbin'.
Yeah, I'm looking through.
Blowing bubbles with the bubs.
I couldn't. I tried.
I can tell.
I was trying. Nothing came to the head. But
Bub. Yeah, no, we got it. We got a few. Only thing that did we get a cigar in here? Did he was he ever
man,
puffing on a stogie?
that might be the only thing. I don't think we did.
I don't recall a stogie being puffed.
Yeah,
I would have liked a stogie or two.
He's more of a drinking. He had a drinking problem
Yeah.
at the beginning here. Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, no, I don't think any cigars.
Yeah, we were in an era, like we're in an era of film here where they're trying to depict tobacco a little less,
Yeah,
at least in the mainstream.
it's just not the
The
cool
mainstream film.
thing anymore. It isn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, drink your liver away, kids.
Mhm.
That's what's cool.
No problem.
Except
Just,
it's not portrayed as cool. It is portrayed as
yeah,
pathetic.
he
in
is
the
up in a
movie.
mountain, outside with a little radio and a bottle of booze. That's about it.
That is about it.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, I'm surprised by how positive I am coming off this movie. Because I liked it, but the way I'm talking, you'd think I fucking loved it.
Yeah. Oh, that shot is just so beautiful. God,
It's gorgeous.
damn.
And like,
What is it about just the like Japanese style,
walls?
not windows, but just those
Yeah.
like sort
The
of
panels.
semi-transparent,
yeah,
sort of windows, and oh man, it's so good. And
yeah. What do you say we rate this thing?
I think we're
How
there.
we feeling?
I think we're there. I don't think there's really any other part of the movie that we're forgetting. And yeah, I mean, shoot, I do have it. Above Dark Knight Rises, above Watchmen, it's around V for Vendetta. I mean, in that place.
Enjoyment wise, that places it around an 8.25, and I'm comfortable with that. We got I think we got the first X-Men at an 8, right?
I think so. Yeah, let me get all
I
the way
think
up
that
there.
we match. I think we match
Yeah.
whatever X-Men's is. I don't
X-Men
want to
is
put it
8.
up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to put it below in terms of enjoyment. Like I have a great time with this movie. So I think an 8 enjoyment is fitting.
I like that. Yeah, Dark Knight Rises at a 7.75. I
Definitely.
would go to this before for sure. Spider-Man
Certainly.
3 another 7.75, and I'm comfortable putting Wolverine above that for sure. So
Now you just mentioned a couple movies that I would hesitate to call this movie strictly better than. Maybe Spider-Man 3, but Dark Knight Rises, even that, I'm a little like, it's good, but is it that good? I don't know. What do we have the Dark Knight Rises at
enjoyment or critically?
critically?
7.5.
That makes me want to throw this at a 7 or 7.25.
Let's see, 7.25s would be The Avengers and Batman 89. We don't have a single 7 at all. And I don't think it'd be worse than The Avengers or Batman.
I don't think it is
89.
either. I think it's on that level. I think the performances are too strong. The character work is astounding. I mean, comparing it to Batman 89 in those regards kind of washes it in both of those. I think you could argue that the writing of the general story, the outline, is probably a little better in those. And there's always a balance. The production design of the Burton Batman films is different. There's a whole other layer there. The costume design there is on a whole other level. Like it's just a bunch of other stuff. So I think equating them feels fine to me.
Okay. If we do, would make it out to a 7.42, 74%, which is a little bit below The Dark Knight Rises, but it ties it with the first Thor. Thor is a 7.42 as well. Did we give? Oh, wow. No, yeah. Thor, 8.75 on enjoyment, but a 6.75 critically. So this one.
And I would agree that this is a better movie than
Yeah.
Thor.
Yeah. Even though the third act is still a little not disappointing, but just not. It doesn't
It's less
stack
than.
up with the rest of the
Yeah.
movie. If that third act was just as strong as the first and second,
And
I mean,
frankly, the third act starts extremely strong. Like the stuff when he's trying to infiltrate the compound
hmm
and he gets all those arrows stuck in him, like that's
yeah, it really is just the
great
fight,
stuff.
like the adamantium suit fight
Yeah, the
and Viper
battle,
there
it's
and
just,
stuff. But
and that's typically where a superhero movie is going to let you down a little bit, is that we're going to culminate in a giant fucking battle, and it is what it is. That's fine. It's just that those are rarely paying off in a meaningful capacity. Like that's something I'll give credit to The Dark Knight Rises for. Is while I don't like the mechanics of the battle, I don't love the optics of it.
mm,
Um, it's that's a fucking war, you know. That's a battle. That's
yeah,
it's
yeah, got to give it, I guess, somewhat credit there. Yeah, it did look cool.
it did. It did.
Yeah, but this, I don't know, like like, you know, I think in to spread some love for the shot, I think I will actually switch that shot to the when he's in the village with all the arrows in him and the ropes just pulling out of him and he's just,
Oh yeah.
kind of still trucking
The one
along.
that's like from the
Um,
perspective of the people shooting the arrows, or the one where he's on the ground in the front,
I think
sort of like
yeah,
in
it kind
all
of
the
shows the road, like it's kind of like a wider
yeah, yeah.
shot showing the whole path that he's walking
Because
down,
there's
all
a
the ropes
couple and
coming
they're back to
back.
back and they're
Yeah.
both fucking awesome. You could go either way. The one where he drops to his knees and he's got his arms out and it's in front of him looking up and all the wires are extending from him,
Ooh,
or
that
you're
might be
up in
the
the
one.
sky
Yeah.
looking down at all the arrows going down at him and you see the
Yeah.
and I think they're both beautiful.
hmm
Either way you go, you can't go wrong.
I think I like the sky, the like
Mhm.
just seeing like his you could see like where he's trying to get in, like, you know,
Yeah,
he's trying to
yeah.
get to the tower and then like everyone holding him
The fact
back
that he just
and
won't go down, dude. Like that
mm,
was so cool. And then like even when he does go down for a second, he gets back up and keeps going a couple steps and then he ultimately does go down. But like the fact that it was going to take everything they had to
yep.
get him down
Mm,
was so cool.
yeah, yeah. 4742. I like that. I do very much like that indeed. And yeah, and the
74%. I'd imagine we're a little nicer than a few other
yeah.
outlets. IMDb
Mhm.
has this at a 6.7. So we're a bit nicer than that. Um, let's see about Rotten Tomatoes. The Wolverine 64 or no, 71% for critics, 69% audience score. So critics,
Mm,
more critics liked this than the audience did.
okay. Wow. That's
Bizarre to me, but hey, whatever.
hmm.
Um,
Maybe it is the character work that was done there. I don't know. And then just
yeah, I mean, like it's not a terrible movie, and I can see how a general audience would think it is.
mhm.
Um,
Hmm. All right then. Yeah, I think we got that there. Yeah, this, I don't know. Number, what did it come in at overall? Looking like, where is it? Oh, that's why I just didn't type it in. Number 21 overall, on our
21.
list. So, yeah,
All right,
21.
21 out of what? 51, right? 21 out of 51. This would be 51st.
That is right.
All right.
Yeah. So, pretty good. Pretty
Definitely top
damn
half
good.
by a little bit. I like that. It's going to be bizarre getting to a point whenever like this is going to become sort of the median, which is like movies we really
Eventually,
enjoy. But
yeah, we
yeah,
are
like,
in a very great era, for
yeah,
comic book movies. Yeah, it's a lot of them will be around here. A lot of them are gonna like be here or above.
yeah,
So
no, for sure. But yeah, with that, we will conclude this episode of the Penny Bloom podcast. If you would, head to patreon.com/pennybloom where you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content, all sorts of book reviews, comic book reviews, movie reviews, and random discussion. A lot more Patreon stuff going up ever since we launched the TikTok. Um, love being able to cut random discussions into TikTok stuff. It's very fun. And follow us over there on TikTok at Penny Bloom Podcast, if you will. But yeah, for $3 a month, you can support this podcast financially, which is huge because it costs me money and I don't make any off of it unless it's over there. Um, let's see, head to YouTube. If you're not watching on YouTube, you now can
mhm.
watch on YouTube. Throw us a subscription. Look us up, Penny Bloom Podcast. We're there. You can watch the podcasts now, and it's I'm, you know, to each their own. If that's what you're into, that's what you're into. You ought to do it. We, you know, I find us to be a couple of decent looking gentlemen. We're not terrible to look at.
Give you something to look at while you're listening. You know,
Yeah,
I always
got
enjoy
a
it
nice
for a
vibe set up.
podcast.
You know, I always whenever we discuss a comic book movie, I've always got a comic book that reflects what character we're discussing. So I've got a Wolverine patch, #1 issue over here today. So I got books in the background. I got all sorts of shit. I got a Penny Bloom mug right here. You can look at all sorts of stuff. Great aesthetic. But yeah, head to Twitter, follow at Penny Bloom Pod, follow on Instagram at Penny Bloom Podcast, follow on Letterboxd at Penny Bloom Pod. You get a nice little spoiler as to how far in advance I'm watching stuff compared to when it comes out. You know, like if you check my Letterboxd, I watched the Wolverine at least a couple days ago, probably a week in advance of when this episode's coming out.
Yeah, mine was the 17th that I watched.
Yeah, I finished it on the 18th.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that is actually straight up.
If you finish a movie at like 1 in the morning, do you still go the day before? Or do you like
I do
technically?
not. Whatever, no matter the time I finish a movie, I log it based on what time I finish. If I finish a movie at midnight, it's
But
the next day.
technically, you watched it though.
And I agree. I
know
but
I always have this internal battle for some, and it doesn't matter. Once
you declare one way,
yeah.
I have made my Letterboxd the time I finish
Okay.
a movie, not the time I watched a movie, the time
Okay.
I finished.
So I guess that makes sense. Yeah, if you just gotta stick with one way, and that
the time
way
I would be
whole time.
logging on Letterboxd is when the movie is over. So if the movie is over at a certain time,
Okay.
that's it. You know. Now the complicated thing is if I finish a movie at 11:58 and then I'm logging the movie like after midnight and I have to pay attention and scroll up one and be like, oh no wait, that wasn't the right day. I'm meticulous in that regard. But beyond that, no, I handle Letterboxd pretty simply.
Yeah, but I'll be getting a little better. I'll be getting better at
No,
logging
yeah, it's
stuff.
a fun it's a great time over there. We got a great list of every movie we've ever covered. I have a little blurb with a share link to where you can watch it, or you can watch or listen to the podcast anywhere that we discussed it on. It's super fucking fun, and I've got all sorts of other lists over there that I love doing. I'm a big list guy over here. If you want more takes on film beyond comic book movies, because this is what we're doing for a while. We did the director spotlight last year, but now that Bong Joon-ho's Mickey 17 got delayed, we're just vibing with this for who knows how long.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with that, we will be continuing the comic book movie project next Wednesday with Thor: The Dark World, and I'm very excited to get to that. I'm a big fan of the Thor movies, so I like talking them. And then we continue our comic book movie coverage in a week on next Friday, where Blaine Rezach will be back to discuss The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Again, another sequel, another 2. I like when it lines up like that. Like we had Iron Man 3 and The Dark Knight Rises in the same week. Now we've got Thor 2 and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 in the same week. That's fun stuff. I'm a sucker for it. But yeah. With that, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. Remember, peace, love, and bloom. And go fuck yourself, pretty boy.